Our good friend Don Jr. accompanied his dad to East Palestine today. He joins us now. Don, appreciate being here.
Good to be with you, Carl.
All right, so here's what some of your dad had to say. It was phenomenal. Take a look.
Over the past few weeks, the community has shown the tough and resilient heart of America, and that's what it is. This is really America right here. We're standing in America. Unfortunately, as you know, in too many cases, your goodness and perseverance were met with indifference and betrayal in some cases.
So your old man goes in, buys everybody Big Macs, pallets of water with your buddy from Blue Line moving. J.D. Vance is there. Where was Joe?
Apparently, Joe's still in Ukraine, giving away trillions of your hard-earned taxpayer dollars to corrupt oligarchs and regimes and the military-industrial complex, Carl. You know, I made a joke on Twitter the other day, like, hey, Joe's finally going to East Palestine. I'm just kidding. He doesn't give a crap. He couldn't care less. You can see that. Pete Buttigieg, you saw in the clip earlier, he's taking some personal time because, 19 days isn't enough time, plus the time he spent chest feeding while we were in the midst of a supply chain crisis and 350 million Americans were depending on him to do his damn job. But there is no accountability. There's not even expectation of these guys doing their jobs. Pete has no business in that position, but, he's the guy that had no business running for president, but they let him do that because he was gay and they check off a box. And then he didn't win. But he's the gay guy, so we got to give him something. Let's make him transportation secretary. What does he know about it? Nothing. His failure after failure after failure are truly affecting the American people. And once FEMA and him and Joe Biden and the rest of the administration decided they weren't going to do anything, my father decided to step up. He announced that he was going, and then magically, like 4 hours later, FEMA says, on second thought, we've given it a little bit more look. And even though we wrote a one-page letter describing why we were going to do absolutely jack nothing, all of a sudden we've changed their minds. It takes a real leader to get people to do things. And honestly, Carl, today it was Trump at his best. I mean, it was 32 degrees, freezing rain. Crowds of people came out to see, their president, Donald Trump, and see action and see leadership. It was just incredible, man. It was just this is why he did it. Well, these people are why he did it to begin with, Carl. I can assure you, it's a lot easier to sit back at Mar-a-Lago and play golf and travel around to nice, warm, sunny places on Trump Force One. But he did it for these people, and this is why he's still doing it.
Well, I remember when he first ran, the Ohio Fair, all the politicians, they put on their brand new crispy, flannel shirts that they just got from the Tractor Supply on their way into town, their jeans, and their unscuffed.
Tag's still on it.
Yeah, unscuffed boots. Your dad shows up in a business suit and be like, hey, look, I realize I'm wearing a $10,000 suit, but I'm one of you. And everybody was like, yeah, actually, you are. You get it. How is somebody like this received when they show up and they're like, guys, I'm not the president. I'm probably going to be or maybe again, but I'm not now, but I'm here to help.
Carl, you saw people that for the last 19 days have gone through hell, not knowing about their health. You're seeing pets die. You don't know what you're breathing. FEMA's telling you, hey, congratulations, folks, you're on your own. If you said you were from Palestine in the Middle East, they'd give you billions of dollars. But in East Palestine, Ohio, not so much. And these are just incredible people. And you could see how much they cared that someone was actually thinking about them, that they weren't just overlooked or passed over because maybe, it's 93% white. Kamala Harris says the opposite. It's only what, you heard her spiel on this nonsense.
Right.
That people weren't just playing politics. It's just Trump being Trump. And if it took him to go there to get other people to actually act and do their jobs, which should not be so hard for an American politician to represent the people of America, but apparently it is. If you're from the Rust Belt or if you're, from a working class town or whatever it may be, he was happy to be there. And just the reception was awesome, Carl. Again, it's why we did it. It was really funny. The funniest thing actually I saw was, in McDonald's, he jokingly, what was the special? I guess they had a Trump special for Wednesday. And he goes, trust me, guys, I know this menu better than anyone in this room. And he does. And he does. So we bought all the first responders, the firemen, awesome. The cops. We got them all McDonald's. It was just, Carl, this is what America's about, man.
Yeah.
This is what it's about. And it's a shame that he has to do this because our elected leaders currently in office right now refuse to do their jobs.
Yeah, I want to ask you two more questions, but the second to last one is accountability. I talked a little bit about it. Like, are we going to audit who did? Is your old man going to get to the bottom, even now he's not in office? The ability to get to the bottom of who signed off on the inspections of these trains, these tracks, that thing?
I think there's limited what he can do there, but I think what you can do is you can create enough noise, Carl. It's like, I started a podcast, not because I need that but we got to get this message out. You see what they're trying to do to you. Let's cancel Newsmax. The establishment, the left, the people in charge of big woke corporate, they hate your guts. They hate your values. They hate your freedom. They hate your religion. They hate our country. So we got to keep fighting back. And what my father did by showing up was he created a need for those other people to act. It's like, oh man, now that it's out there, we actually have to act. So Pete Buttigieg is now, he's stopped taking the personal time that he needs. As 350 million Americans suffer, and certainly the people of East Palestine, and now he's going to go there tomorrow, 20 days late. Yeah. He should have been there on day one, but he wouldn't do that. I mean, it's just Ohio, right? These are just hardworking Americans. We don't need it. They're not trans Americans and some sort of special identity group, and the 0.00002% of the population that Joe Biden, the Democrats, and that administration seem to be dedicating like 99% of their time actually doing stuff for. These are America is. This is the 99% of America fits in this group.
And they don't want to know those people. They're not of the Democratic loud minority there.
No, they have jobs, Carl. They work hard. They're trying to raise a family. They want their children to grow up in a household with a mother and father. I know that's sacrilegious in today's Democrat Party, where that's frowned upon. And if you're an organization that talks about parental rights and having these things, you're viewed as domestic terrorists, as we saw earlier in the week from some council person up in I guess it was South Dakota. Attacking a conservative organization for being about family values. I mean, God forbid, Carl. I mean, America's on such a great track going down the road that they're taking us. Why would we ever want to actually have households and families?
Well, speaking of households, you've been watching us on DirecTV recently, haven't you, Don?
Trying. But that's the point. They would. That's what I was sort of alluding to earlier. Like, if we don't push back, if we don't all act, if we don't all, it's, again, I'm on Rumble with a podcast so that people can hear what's actually going on. I've been a fly on the wall for 6 years. I know what I used to think of America. I know how much of the nonsense I believed, and I was always, we grew up in a sort of a big business. I wasn't entirely naive, but I was entirely naive to just how bad it is. And so we got to be out there exposing it. We have to talk about it. We have to be vocal. We have to make sure that people understand exactly what's going on, or we're going to wake up one day living in a country we don't understand, with no rights, no freedoms, no liberties, and we'll be, on our way to the gulags. And that's the reality. That's where a lot of these people would put us if they had their choices. You and me would be, we'd be first on the list.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know you and I are both really high on that list. Don, it's always a pleasure, sir. Appreciate you being here.
Good to see you, Carl.
All right.